Welcome back, guys. It's been a minute. It's been almost 3 weeks since the last one has been up for sale, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. This is VIN 0601, so VIN 601. This is a 2016 8X1, which is ultrasonic blue mica with LA30 red interior. Superman spec. That is what our blue GSF is as well. It's for sale at Lexus of Wichita, as in Wichita, Kansas, with 71,000 miles for $59,500. Let's just call it $60,000. It is raining, so hopefully my mic doesn't pick that up. My shop has a tin roof, so it's going to be pretty loud. But so $60,000 sounds like a pretty high price for this car. But if you've been following the market on these cars are selling in the 60s. There's several that have been listed, that I've kind of scoffed at and said, $68,000 is a high price. Those cars are selling. So based on previous market data, I would say this car is probably not too far out of line if it needs nothing else. And so when we get into the service history, we'll find out. But to me, $60,000 sounds high, but again, they are selling at this price right now in this market here in June of 2026. Production statistics. So 269 out of the 2,348 cars for the US 49 were ultrasonic blue mica. Not very many of them, and even rarer in red. 62 had LA30 red interior, which is 2.64% of all of the US 49 production. So that's like an 8 out of 10 for rarity. You're not gonna see the Superman spec come up for sale very often. For 2016, 177 out of the 1,418 cars were ultrasonic blue mica, and of those, only 36 had LA30 red interior. So this car is one of 36. It is a very rare example, and you're not gonna see a lot of them come up for sale very often. As far as options go, this car had all-weather floor mats, which is option 2Q. It has G4, which is the front lighted door sills, and it has the Mark Levinson, the orange calipers, PC, which is the premium paint option. Only the ultrasonic blue mica had this option where you actually had to pay extra for a color. So this car obviously has that. So it has the option Z2, which is like a comfort and convenience package. So it includes the strip on the top of the rear bumper, has a trunk mat, has a cargo net, has wheel locks, things like that. So pretty well optioned example. Carfax, Epic VIN, and Auto Check. So Carfax, 2026 Carfax shows this as a 3-owner, no accident, with a mileage inconsistency reported. So I'll get to that in a minute. 2024 Carfax also shows the same. Epic VIN shows this as a 2-owner, no accident car, and I don't think that's correct. And Auto Check shows this as a 3-owner, no accident car. So on paper, this is a 3-owner, no accident car, but as we'll find out in the service history, it does have some damage reported to it. And it's also actually originally owned by Lexus. So technically it's 4 owners, but Lexus, appears to be that it was just owned as an auto show vehicle. So a very short-term ownership, but it was originally a Lexus owned car. So previous sales, as I said, Lexus originally owned it. Here's the window sticker. It was originally delivered to TMS in New Jersey, so that is Toyota's marketing department. And so they did own it what appears to be a little over a month, and they put like 13 miles on it. And it's confirmed in the service history as well, so I'm pretty confident that this was owned by Lexus. So a month or so later, in February of 2016, it was for sale in New Jersey with 13 miles on it, for $88,500. And so that all jives there. It wasn't sold until August of 2016, so like 6 months for sale to a buyer in Philly, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then it looks like it had a private sale in April of 2019 to a buyer in New York State. And then in December of 2019, so they didn't keep it very long. It's the only photo I have of this car when it was for sale, $54,000. What a time to be alive in 2019. With 15,000 miles, and it was at a dealer in Memphis, Tennessee at that point. And it sold to a buyer in Tennessee as well, about 4 months later in March of 2020. It looks like that buyer then moved from Tennessee to Kansas sometime in around 2022. So it spent 2 years in Tennessee, and then otherwise it was in New England, and then now it's been in Kansas ever since 2022, so like the last 4 years. There is a mileage inconsistency that's reported in 2024 and 2025. It may be a clerical error, but remember, this person originally lived in Tennessee and then moved to Kansas, but these inconsistencies are in Pennsylvania, which this car was in before, and it's like 40,000 miles less than what it was showing. So something kind of weird there. But now then when it pops up for sale, it looked like in 2023 it had about 60,000 miles, and then now it has 71,000. So it's kind of in line, but you know, that would just be something, if you see the photos and kind of look at this car, just kind of make sure everything jives with it having about 70,000 miles. I don't see anything that shows any red flags, but that's just something that I'm making you aware of, that it does have more than one report, but it could be maybe somebody fat fingered the VIN when they were entering it in a service history, and it just showed up on this car, and it's not really the right mileage, it's not the right car. That's something that you could probably dispute with Carfax and get it removed. So here it is now, middle of June 2026, 71,000 miles for almost $60,000 at Lexus of Wichita, Kansas. So now into the photos. As I said, right now, I sort of waited a couple days before doing this video because I was hoping they were going to get some photos up, and I don't see any yet. So that means either they're doing a lot of reconditioning or they already have somebody interested in this car. But I only have one photo of this car at all. I've never seen, nobody's ever spotted it anywhere. It hasn't been for sale with other photos, just one photo. It's right here, it's one was for sale in 2019. So that photo is 7 years old. So as far as the price is concerned, if you would have asked me 3 months ago, I would say this car is greatly overpriced. However, if it needs nothing in this market, $60,000 probably isn't too far off. As you heard me say earlier in this video, these cars in the 60s for the 2016s with this kind of mileage, they are selling. There is a 2016, it was modified, but it had similar mileage and it sold for about $68,000, $69,000. So there's several other examples, $63,000, $64,000, $65,000. They're lower mile examples, but they are selling. And so this car at $60,000, it's probably not too far off. However, my personal opinion would be this would be like a low 50s car. So I would say it's like $7,000, $8,000 overpriced in my opinion, if it needed nothing. And so when we get into the service history, you will see it does not need nothing. It needs some significant amount of service catching up. So speaking of the service history, I would call this pretty well dealer serviced until about 2021, and then there's not much. And so there's a few things where it was serviced at an independent dealer or an independent mechanic, and some Pep Boy services, things like that. But so I wouldn't call it well dealer serviced in like the last 5 years and like 55,000 miles. So let's call it not even well dealer serviced, just not well serviced in general of record. And so unless it's been done DIY or elsewhere that doesn't report to Carfax or AutoCheck or anything like that, then it's pretty lacking in service history. So we'll go ahead and get through it. So you know, early on it was owned by Lexus, and so that's confirmed here in the service history. January of 2016, drain the fuel tank. So it's usually so they can ship it somewhere. So a month later, in February of 2016, reconditioning from the auto show. So this was an auto show car. March of 2016, there was damage to the driver's front seat due to the auto show. So very common with auto show vehicles, people sit in it, they get in and out of them, belt scratch, ring scratch, things like that. So they replaced the driver's seat back, or that's about a $1,200 piece. So that was done due to damage at the auto show. December of 2016, still more damage from the auto show being reported. The mode selector knob was chipped, and so they went ahead and replaced it, and they noted that the damage again was from the auto show, and it had like 2,500 miles on it at that point now. January of 2017, it had a lower dash rattle. So that is fairly common on some of the 2016s and really some of the later ones too, but it's just these little clips, they get deformed, and so they replaced it and the rattle went away. August of 2017, goes to the body shop to fix parking sensors, and so maybe something got misaligned, or I would assume it's going to the body shop just to remove the bumper in order to fix whatever needed to be fixed there. Doesn't say anything about any paint work, but the bumper was probably removed there. June of 2018, the JLB recall was done. That's the high pressure fuel pumps. Most of these cars have that done, so good to see that's done there. July of 2019, a check engine light was on for a speed sensor, P0500, and they reset it. It said it came back on, and then it cut off the text what they did. So I would assume probably a wheel bearing or something got unhooked. Generally the ABS sensor, the wheel speed sensor, the wheel bearing, something like that, kind of related, and so it could be what went on there. So then in February of 2020, there was a TVD malfunction that was reported, and they replaced the TVD relay. That's not common. Generally, it's other electrical issues that lead to that. And so it kind of leads up to the very next entry, which is not on the dealer service, it's on the Carfax, is at an independent dealer, an independent mechanic. About a week later, they replaced the fuse block. So most likely what I would assume all of this was related is somebody jumped the battery backwards. And I've seen that on other service histories. These cars will do some weird things, not just the fusible link and other fuses that you have to replace, but they replaced the fuse block and the TBD had some issues as a result of it. And then a couple months later, 420, the driver's side daytime running light stopped working. Well, they replaced the DRL ECU, or the headlight ECU, underneath the headlight, so they had to remove the bumper and the headlight in order to do that. Probably related to jumping the battery backwards, all of this other issues that this car has had in these last few months. November of 2020, they reprogrammed the low pressure fuel pump. So that's the humming or buzzing you hear in the backseat. Most of them have that already addressed. And then another entry on the Carfax, it looks like in February of 2021 at Pep Boys, looks like maybe tires and tire pressure sensors possibly replaced. Hopefully they used OEM sensors because these cars do not like aftermarket sensors. So that would be something to look at. If you go and look at this car and it has the tire pressure sensor light on, or the TPMS light, the low pressure light on, probably because it has aftermarket sensors that were installed at Pep Boys. Just assuming, but something to watch for. 41,000 miles, June of 2021. Give estimate on driver's side blind spot monitor. $1,946 to replace it. And so that's probably either the slave sensor, the axis sensor that's all on that driver's rear side. You'd have to remove the bumper in order to do it. Probably had some damage or something, right? Well, the next entry at 48,000 miles, November of 2021, body work to the left rear corner. So that kind of jives with, it probably had, maybe they backed into something or some other sort of damage that wasn't otherwise reported until around this time frame. But replace the blind spot monitoring slave unit and adjust the bracket. Looks like something was bent, and then they sent it on its way. So it's had some body work to the left rear. Probably repainted the bumper, maybe the quarter panel on that side. That would be something to look at if you look at this car or when they post photos. So that was in 2021, and then there's about a 2-year gap. There's nothing else on the Carfax. 59,000 miles in 2023, an oil change. Then there's nothing. So now it has 71,000. So basically, since about 48,000 miles, it's had an oil change, and that's all the history we have. And then there's a 3-year gap to now. So in the last 3 years, there's nothing. What is not done? Pretty much have to assume everything is not done, but you of course have the 60,000 mile service. There's no record of, so that's spark plugs and the in-depth service. None of that's been done. The valley plate, of course, no history on that. Brakes and tires, these cars always need brakes and tires. There's no recent history of brakes being done, and tires would be, when did that, 2021? So that was at like 40-something thousand, 40,000 miles. Probably needs tires. Carbon fiber trim, there's nothing about any of that being replaced, so assume it's all delaminating unless the dealer that's selling it is going to replace some of it. The KLG has not been done. That is the GPS location reporting incorrectly. The low pressure fuel pump recall, which parts are not quite available yet, but should be any day now. So you will get a new low pressure fuel pump that's underneath the back seat. Front lower control arm bushings. Look at the insides of the front tires. Make sure you don't see any excessive wear. If you do, it needs front lower control arm bushings, 2 tires, and an alignment. Nothing about the HVAC servo sweep being done on this car either. So make sure this car is fully warmed up if you're going to go drive it, and then check max hot on one side, max cold on the other. Cycle through everything, switch sides, and make sure they all respond. If they don't, there is a fix for it. It's no longer free. If the fix doesn't resolve it, then you have to replace some of the servos, and the dash has to come out in order to replace some of those, not all of them, and that can get pretty expensive. So at the end of the day, this car is pretty lacking in maintenance, at least on paper. So unless some of it's been done DIY or done elsewhere that doesn't report to Carfax, this car probably needs a lot as far as service history goes, and brakes, tires, carbon fiber trim, valley plate, etc. 60,000 mile service. There's some big ticket items that this car probably needs, so that's going to of course drive down the price. So that brings me to would I buy this car? So I think I'll reserve full judgment until I see photos. Like if this car is flawless, you know, maybe it gets closer to being justified at $60,000 in this market, but I still think it's a little bit overpriced. And based on that service history, I would, without seeing the photos, I would probably be in like the upper 40s because it needs so much. Brakes, tires, valley plate, carbon fiber trim, 60,000 mile service, just everything. Transmission service, TVD service. It needs a lot. And there's no real record, any recent service on this car. So assume it needs it unless they can prove it has been done. And then further, it started its life in New England. It spent a little bit of time in Tennessee, just like a couple years. And then it was in Kansas. All of those are Rust Belt states, depending on where in Tennessee also. But basically, I would look underneath this car pretty close too to make sure it's not too incredibly rusty. Based on the service dates, it's been serviced in the winter months, so it very well could have been winter driven as well, but I don't see anything about like swapping summer tires to snow tires or anything like that. But you know, there's a lot that you really need to look at for this car. And so I think that, you know, I'll reserve full judgment until I see photos, but I would say based at $60,000, it's too expensive and I would not buy this car at $60,000. If it had all the service history, everything done, it may be closer to being justified, and if it's not rusty, but otherwise I would be like upper 40s, lower 50s would be where I would have to get it in order for it to make sense. Yes, it is a rare car. Yes, it's a rare spec. It's the Superman spec. It's the blue with the red, but at the end of the day, you're gonna pay $60,000 for this. There are not very many on the market right now, and the ones that do come up sell very quickly. So I would probably expect this one to also sell pretty quickly too, but I think at 60 grand, it's just too expensive because it needs so much. So if somebody has any photos of this car, feel free to email me. My email's right here. And if you have any other questions about it, also feel free to email me and I can try to answer them for you. So that's what I've got for you. Vin0601, thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and of course comment down below to help out the algorithm. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.